Number 3.
This happened last year, around September. I was given a job at my campus's main dining hall. I was in charge of the inventory. It was just a 15-hour-a-week job that I had taken to get a little extra money. It wasn't hard at all. I just counted the amount of plates, cups, miscellaneous food items, etc. After that, I just chilled until my shift ended, which was usually around 10 PM. It was my first day, or night actually. My supervisor was an asshole. He told me what to do, and then he went home. He left me there to do the job by myself at around 7 PM. It was already dark, but I did what he said. I finished in about 45 minutes. I sat around, bored, in the darkness. I played a few 100 or 1,000 games of Angry Birds, and still had an hour and a half until my shift ended. So I did what any girl would do. I went into the kitchen. The kitchen area was huge. It wrapped around half of the building. I went into the freezer area just to see what was there, and that's when I heard a bang from the front part of the kitchen. It scared me so bad that I slipped and fell. I crawled out on all fours to see what the sound was. When I looked, I didn't see anything but a silent figure darting back and forth in the darkness. I immediately flipped my shit because the dark figure was bounding straight toward me. It grew larger and larger until I jumped up and turned the lights on. I was immediately staring into a pair of eyes. It was Roger, one of the cleaning staff members. My supervisor had mentioned cleaning staff came in late, but Roger was about 4 hours early. But I knew Roger. We were both juniors at the same time, and I had a few classes with him. He was a nice guy, but I think he wasn't all there. He just seemed off, but he always said hello to me and I to him. But I remember asking him, rather brashly, "Why the fuck are you here?" And he just smiled, laughed, and shrugged. He didn't say words, and I was creeped the fuck out. Then he told me he had heard I had got a job there and he wanted to keep me company. I told him I was fine. He didn't have to leave right away, and I'm not the type of person to be incredibly mean and upfront, so I let him stay. Roger and I ended up talking about our classes and stuff. I realized that he just needed a friend, and I was happy to give him that. But the end of my shift came, and I told Roger that I was leaving. I only had to go down to the basement level and turn off their heating and air unit. Roger said his goodbyes and then left. I went downstairs without thinking about it. Later, when I'm coming back from downstairs, I hear a door slam, heavy footsteps, and then Roger is standing at the top of the stairs. He told me there was a strange man outside and that he would walk me to my car. I stopped, hesitated, then nodded. I trusted Roger. He was harmless. Or so I thought. I sent a text to my boyfriend and told him I was on my way home. My phone, conveniently enough, died right after that text was sent. I gathered my things, but I couldn't find my wallet. I had left it on the front desk, but it wasn't there. I looked all around, retraced my steps, and spent an extra 30 to 45 minutes looking. Roger joined in to help. He pretended like it was a game, and was laughing about it the entire time. I was growing uncomfortable and agitated because I couldn't find my fucking wallet. As Roger bent down to look under a table, I saw the tip of my wallet poking out of the back of his pants. He had my wallet the entire fucking time. But I felt uneasy about the whole thing. Why did he go along with this jokingly for so long? I called him out on it, beyond pissed off. I told him, rather abrasively, to give me the fucking wallet back. He held it out front of me like I was a dog. I thought to myself, you only have $5 and your student ID in there? You can get a new ID for $10. Let the fucker have it. So I turned around, grabbed my keys and hauled ass out of the door. I turned around and was instantly barreled over by Roger. I hit the pavement outside the dining hall hard enough to daze me. He was laughing, and my vision was spinning. I pulled myself up. Roger was pushing me around, almost taunting me. I started wailing. I mean, straight up Jamie Lee Curtis screaming. Roger shoved me hard enough to cause me to fall again, and I just got up and ran across the parking lot. He was much, much larger than me, and much faster. He ran alongside me and just laughed. The fucker laughed. I didn't even run to my car. I ran out into the middle of the highway and screamed for everything I was worth. Roger was running up to me, just as campus security sped right beside me. They asked what the problem was, but I was hyperventilating and having a panic attack. Roger just swore up and down he was trying to give my wallet back to me, but I finally sobered up enough and screamed, "He was chasing me, and he took my wallet, and he wouldn't leave me alone." They took Roger in, and my boyfriend came and saved the day for me. After they watched the security footage, Roger left campus. I never heard what happened. To be honest, I didn't care, and I vowed never to work another overnight job alone again. It was pretty fucking terrifying. Number 2. So, this story happened to me at work in the Netherlands. Apologies for the long lead up. I'm 29 now. This story happened about 10 years ago. At the time I was jobless and I found a job as a security guard in an office building. The office building was in a forested area, away from the busy streets, pretty secluded. The person who had the job before me had a car accident and apparently was paralyzed from waist down. Nobody was interested in the job since you worked during the night and the office building was so big, it was just boring as hell. But hey, a job is a job, I guess. Once I started, a supervisor worked with me for about a week and told me what to do. This was my first night working by myself. I came to work and took the shift over from my colleague at 9 PM. He told me there were still some people left in the building. Before I went up to the 15th floor, I closed the main entrance in such a way that you can only exit when you're inside, so no outsiders could come in. After I did this, I went up to the 15th floor where these people worked, and I asked them if they needed to go anywhere else in the building, and if not, I could make my round and close off all the other floors, which I did. So I made my rounds and found nothing peculiar. I went back to my front desk, and this was around 11 PM. The last people who were working on the 15th floor were just leaving, and a guy told me that he was the last one to leave and wished me a good night. Once the last person left, I went up to the 15th floor, checked all the offices and locked it down. I went down to my front desk again, since there was no people left. I put on the alarms, which work on motion detection and also when you open a fire exit, on every floor, except the ground floor where my desk was. Within 5 minutes, I put the alarm on all the floors. The alarm went off on the 10th floor, and there was nobody in the building. The rule is, if an alarm goes off, you first call the security company before you take action. I told them I would investigate the alarm and I would call them back once I checked it out. Otherwise, if I don't call back, they would send a police car to check it out, just as a precaution. I checked the whole 10th floor, and I found nothing. I went back to call the security company, telling them it was a false alarm. I kid you not, the alarm on the 10th floor went off like 7 times in an hour. And every time I checked the floor, I couldn't find anything out of order, or even that there was someone there. Since this was my first day working alone, and the alarm went off so many times, the security company thought I was screwing things up and wanted to file a complaint to my boss, which would mean I would probably lose my job I just had for a week. In retrospect, the following was the dumbest thing I could ever do, because the alarm went off again. Since I didn't want to call the security company again and cry wolf, I went up to the 10th floor without informing the security company. The only thing I had on me was a mag light, since security guards in the Netherlands are not allowed to carry guns. I went up to the 10th floor, checked the floor, and as before, found nothing. The only difference now was I pretended to leave, turned off the lights and stayed on the 10th floor, listening if someone was there. In about 5 minutes, I heard someone or something moving. I was relieved, but anxious at the same time. Relieved I wasn't wrong, and there was something on the floor. Anxious because what was on the floor? I turned on the lights and tried to sound as manly as possible, saying something in the line of,
"I know there's someone here, show yourself."
As you can imagine, no response. So stupid I didn't go down to call for help, but stupid me went looking for whatever it was on the 10th floor. I walked to the office I heard the sound from, turned on the lights, and found a little girl who couldn't be older than 13 with long brown hair, in white pajamas, squatting and rocking front and back on a desk, looking straight at me. The scary thing was there was no emotion in her face or in her eyes. After almost shitting myself, I collected my nerves and took the girl by the hand. I took her down to the front desk, offered her a Coke, but she didn't respond whatsoever. The only thing I could do was call my supervisor and told him about what I encountered. My supervisor's response was, "Stay there, I'll be right over." The time I hung up on the phone until my supervisor came, I just had this underbelly feeling with this girl, that there was something really wrong with her. Before my supervisor turned up, he called me and told me to call an asylum which was pretty close to the office building I worked at, just to check if someone was missing. Why would there be a 13-year-old girl in an office building with no houses nearby whatsoever? So that's what I did. I called the asylum, asking them if there was someone missing from the asylum, and I got the scariest response you could get. They told me, yes, as a matter of fact, someone is missing. I gave them a description of the girl sitting next to me, and it was in fact the girl who was missing from the asylum. They told me she was really dangerous, and that I should watch my back at all costs. They immediately sent people over to take the little girl with them. A week later, my supervisor told me the story of the little girl I found, since he talked with the people from the asylum. It turns out the girl killed her mum and dad and little brother while they were asleep when she was 11. Even in the asylum, she wounded staff members, either by stabbing them with a pencil or, in another case, biting a piece of an ear off. To this day, we still have no clue how she ever came into the building. We checked all the cameras and there was no footage of her ever entering the building.
Number 1.
I work part-time for my university's IT department. I manage the public computer sites, fix machines when they're broken, handle scheduling of other consultants, etc. I'm mostly on call all the time, and during a summer weekend there is not much to do except get paid. The campus library is across the hall from my office. Normally it's open even on weekends, but it was closed for the intersession this weekend before the semester began. Lights off, doors locked. There's no way to get in unless you have a swipe card access, which I do. There are computers in there. So, I'm in my office passing time on the internet when I hear a bit of a racket. I peek out the door and there's this bigger man, probably about 40, tugging on the doors and trying to rip them open. He noticed me come out and asks, or more like yells to me,
"When does this place open?"
I pointed to the hours sign and explained it would be open on Monday when classes began. He walks away and seems unsatisfied with that answer. More time passes, and out of boredom, I decided I'm going to go check out the library. I've only been in there once before while it was closed. I swipe my card and go in. It's really creepy in that place when it's closed. I wasn't supposed to be in there. If I got caught, I'd probably be in a small amount of trouble since I really didn't have permission or a reason for being in another department's area during closed hours. All of the lights are off except one light coming through some of the windows. The place is huge, and you can hear ventilation fans clicking on and off. As I creep past the rows and the aisles, the locked door study cubicles creak and make noises occasionally as if someone were inside them, which is often true, Students are known to hide in there after library closing to study in a quiet setting or to have sex in them. But the library has been closed for almost 24 hours at this point, and no one likely camped out in there. It's just noises. Still, as I walk alone in this place, it feels like I'm not alone. I go to the lounge area and sit, but I feel uncomfortable with the dark silence and get up soon. So I walk to the bathroom, and as I walk in, I notice there's someone in the stall. All I can see is one foot at first glance from underneath the door. One naked foot, no shoes or socks, in a public restroom. One naked, bloody foot. There's a small pool of blood on the floor in the stall, and small trickles of blood on the foot. I froze for a small amount of time and tightened up. I was startled at first because I hadn't expected to find anyone else here. Second, a fucking bloody foot? I didn't see any sort of socks or shoes around, no pants around the ankles, nothing like that. I didn't even see a second foot. A pale, cold, white foot. It was large too. The stall door is partially open, but not enough that I can see inside from my angle. I say with a shaken voice, "Hello?" No response, and nothing happens. I wonder if there's even a body attached to that foot. I wonder if there's a dead body inside. I wonder if some kid is killing himself in there. I ask, "What the fuck are you doing, man?" Then the toes slowly curl up, flex, and then relax. I promptly turned right out the door and walked out the library quickly. I got back into my office as I tried to make sense of what I just saw. Should I call campus police? I really just didn't want to get involved with dealing with paperwork or questions with the police. I justified that I wasn't supposed to be over there anyway and would have to lie about some reason of why I was, and I called my friend Andy instead. I just wanted to talk to someone about what I had seen. I felt queasy. Andy and I talked for a good 40 minutes, most of it just like, "Shit, dude, that's messed up." I heavily considered calling the police, but so much time had passed I assumed the person would be long gone. The bloody foot also certainly thought he was alone, so he would have been startled by my appearance too. I decided I'm going to go back and stay on the phone with Andy. I knew how stupid this was, and if someone is hurting themselves, they may not care to take me out either. They probably were unstable, and they would have some sort of knife or blade, I'm guessing. I'm not in any mood to get in a knife fight here either during my night shift, but I want to go check the bathroom again. As I walk through the library, it's worse this time, because now I'm not alone, and there's someone else here possibly with a weapon. Still, dead silent and dark. I softly walk to the bathroom and listen outside the door for a moment. I don't hear any sound, but I get the chills. Andy is on speakerphone, but it's staying silent. I go inside. The foot is still there. There's more blood than before. Still cold and pale looking. The door is now shut to the stall. I was really hoping not to see anyone in here this time. I did not want to anger a possibly suicidal person. I ask, "Are you alright?" No response, no motion, only blood. It's making me feel sick. I repeat, "Are you okay in there? Do you need me to call for help or anything?" Slowly, the foot turns and points towards me. A second foot steps down alongside it, also the blood smeared all over it. Whatever is inside the stall is now standing and facing directly at me, with only the wall between us. I can't see the top of any head either. My heart starts racing. Finally, a deep voice responds,
"I am fine."
That was good enough an answer for me. I promptly turn and leave. This time, I run. I had told myself before going in that if he was still there, I'd definitely call the police. But I still didn't. He said he was fine, and I wanted to put all of this out of my head and forget about it. The voice sounded like an older man, I'd guess 30 to 50. The size of the feet made him seem big, but not necessarily tall. I locked the door to my office and do nothing for the last 30 minutes or so of my shift. When I step out into the hallway, there's bloody footprints walking out of the library and over to my office door. Plenty of them outside my door. It was pacing and standing there for a while by the looks of things. Small drips of blood led away from my door and stopped after a small distance. I was horrified. I hurried to my truck. I paused for a moment and realized with the amount of blood outside my office door and in that hallway, I can't just leave. I'll probably be asked about it anyway. I should call it in. I head back, and all the footprints are mostly gone. All of the fucking bloody footprints and drops are wiped away. There are small smears here and there. It obviously wasn't a perfect cleaning job, but I was only gone from my truck for maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Whatever it is, it's still here, hanging around, watching me, cleaning up after itself too. I'm so frightened at this stage. I go back to my truck, but there are now bloody towels on my door handle, on the ground, on the hood of my truck. This person is seriously fucking with me. I hurry right over to the campus police. I'm just going to tell them the whole story. Even the fact that I was also trespassing and that I went back for a second visit instead of calling police first. And I did. I told them everything. They took pictures of my car and told me they'd look into it. They returned to the library but requested that I do not accompany them back inside. I went home. This was 2 days ago and I have not heard anything since. I work again tonight. Another fucking closing shift. G'day mates, it's Busta here. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed another night shift video. I had these stories left over from the last night shift video and wanted to share them with you guys, so I thought I'd make another video out of them. So I'm wondering if anyone spotted the Easter egg. Well, if you didn't, just to let you guys know, I finally have some merchandise up. I'll leave a link in the description to the shop so you guys can go check it out and maybe grab something if you'd like. There'll be more merch on the way, but my friend and I designed these first sets with the channel's logo in mind, as heaps of you guys actually requested this, so we wanted to make sure that we delivered. If you guys do purchase one, be sure to send me a pic on Twitter and Facebook or Instagram so I can see your swag. Big shout out goes to Riley James for the thumbnail for this video. I've left a link in the description below so you guys can go check out more of Riley's work. It would be awesome if you could like the video, share the video, and let me know what you guys want to see in the future by dropping a comment and subscribe if you're new. You can catch me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter throughout the week. I also have a second channel which will be underway very soon, so don't forget to stay tuned for that. Alright guys, thank you all for tuning in once again. Stay awesome guys, and I'll see you mates in the next one.